Alright everyone, this is Daniel Crawford here, and this is my very quick snap review of Backlash 2021, also known as WrestleMania Backlash. So let's just get right into it. The pre-show featured, among other things, because I missed the first half hour of the pre-show because of work, but Sheamus had a little bit of a promo before a matchup wherein he had kind of an open challenge against Ricochet, which is who it turned out to be. Of course, Sheamus, before this match, said, you got to earn a shot at the U.S. title by defeating him in a non-title match. So that's his rule. So either way, Sheamus defeated Ricochet. Good matchup here. And then, of course, we go into the opening of the pay-per-view, which, like the video package, but I was really confused at first about, why is Batista in here, and why do we keep seeing scenes about zombies? It was really weird. And then, of course, that gets explained later on in the show, but we'll get into that in a second. We have a great opening bout with an awesome opening video. Sorry, my computer's making noises. Well, we have an awesome opening video with about Rhea, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair, their matchup. They have a barn burner of a opening bout for a triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley wins after just a crazy series of false finishes back and forth. Asuka gets kicked by Charlotte into Rhea by accident because Charlotte meant to kick her away, but Charlotte knocked herself off of the apron, allowing Rhea to grab Asuka, put her into the Riptide, and of course get the victory. Great stuff there. Miz and Morrison, of course, they're going back and forth about what Priest is going to be choosing, or how he's going to be deciding this Lumberjack match. Miz complained to Morrison that it's because of Morrison losing to Priest on Raw that Priest got to choose this Lumberjack stipulation. So, we move on to seeing the Dirty Dogs attacking Dominic. This will happen during the pre-show, but it kind of sets the stage for Dominic not being in the picture during this tag team title match. The Mysterios are then seen Dominic being talked to by his father. Rey Mysterio tells Dominic that he needs to stay out of the ring because, he's hurt. So then we see the Smackdown Tag Team Championship match. Dirty Dogs, which is Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, or Bobby Roode, whatever you want to say. Of course, them taking on Rey Mysterio, one half of the Mysterios, because Dominic is hurt in the back. I thought when I saw this, oh man, okay, so that means Rey's going to have a guest partner. Joy. But the awesome thing was, after I noticed that there wasn't a mystery partner, I was like, this means Dominic is coming back, which absolutely guarantees that the Mysterios will win. And when they did, this was another amazing match. Just great stuff here. Gave you an awesome moment because Dominic came back. Gave you an awesome moment where they're celebrating together with the tag titles, making history as the first ever father-son tag team champions. I think ever, but I'm not sure. But I know for all of WWE history, but I'm not sure if it's in all of professional wrestling history. But we'll have to look into that. But anyways, this of course leads to an interview right after the match where Dominic is expressing how he's proud to do this with his father, which is great. And then John Morrison, he's going through the back and he reveals that zombies are there. And it's I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? And I know a lot of wrestling fans were like this too. I started laughing though because I know a lot of people are oh, I hate campiness, but campy is part of wrestling. As much as most wrestling fans seem to hate this, I didn't want it to happen, and I can't say I was a gigantic fan of it. I just still laughed at it. Let's put it that way. I was still entertained by it. So I can't say I was a fan of it. I thought it was stupid too. I was oh great, zombies. But campiness is a part of professional wrestling. Always has been and always will be. So we move on from there, and we have this zombie lumberjack match. Miz and Morrison come down, and then, of course, they're cornered by the zombies. And Damian Priest comes down, and the zombies are surrounding the ring for this lumberjack match. Morrison runs away. I thought I'd die laughing when the announcers, when the commentary team ran away because zombies are underneath the table. But I was just entertained by this. It looks stupid, but the match, it was kind of distracting seeing the zombies. But the zombies as oh my god, I'm trying to remember who it was. I can't remember which wrestler it was. They tweeted saying that I want to congratulate all the zombies for sticking to the rules. It was Drew Gulak, that's who it was. But yeah, I want to congratulate all the zombies for sticking to the rules. They're professionals. But it was great. And then after the match, Damian Priest left, and then the zombies attacked Miz and Morrison. So maybe they'll turn Zombies on Raw. I saw some person saying, "Oh, I'm never going to watch Raw again if that happens." I hope Miz and Morrison come back as like zombies, at least for a split second. It was good stuff. Then we see after this, the Usos start arguing with each other about what's going to happen. Jimmy Uso is being put on the spot because, Roman wants him to decide whether or not he wants to be in the bloodline. We'll see. Bayley, of course, a video for Bayley and Bianca, their match coming up. Really good video. Their video packages, like I say, are just like top notch. So I don't think I ever have hated any of their video packages. Even back in the 90s and 80s, like they were ahead of their time. But you saw a really good Smackdown Women's Championship match. The finish didn't involve Bianca's KOD, her kiss of death. Instead, it had this little thing where they were, the hair was used to help get a pin. So, anyways, Bianca Belair retained the title, which was essential, I think, especially for a historic run as this will be. MVP then has an interview about the upcoming WWE Championship matchup. We see a video package for McIntyre, Lashley, and Strowman. Another great one. And then the triple threat for the WWE Championship was really good. It was exciting, constant action here. You saw a spot where they go through the set. You saw a couple of scary spots. One awesome spot, though. Well, actually, a few awesome spots. You saw Drew and Bobby Lashley doing a vertical suplex on Braun Strowman, which was amazing. You saw Drew McIntyre almost killing Braun Strowman with an overhead release belly to belly. Kind of crazy. And then, of course, you saw a Michinoku driver executed by Drew McIntyre on Braun Strowman. Like, this stuff was awesome. But yeah, Bobby Lashley retained in the end. Great stuff. After that, we saw the best video of the night. This one was, of course, for Roman Reigns and Cesaro. Bloodline, of course, you see after this video where Roman Reigns is telling Jay, like, hey, look, seems like your focus is on your brother. Maybe you should go find him and decide whether or not you want to be with us. So Jey Uso leaves the scene. Roman Reigns goes out to the ring, has a stellar match in the main event between him and Cesaro for the Universal title. Roman Reigns retains, and after the match, you see Jey Uso come back, and Jey Uso basically starts attacking Cesaro, and then he's just doing that until Seth Rollins comes out. And you think, oh my God, Seth Rollins is going to come after Roman, but that's not what's going to happen, because Seth attacks Cesaro, who is his primary target since before WrestleMania. So Seth attacks Cesaro, and that's how we end the show. I will say, I predicted every single match accurately. Every single match was predicted accurately. So, doesn't make it a bad thing, because all the stories made sense. And the only thing that I got a little bit wrong about these predictions was I thought Jimmy Uso was going to somehow play a role in the main event, and he did not. Still, that's fine. Moving on now to what surprisingly will be the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which it was supposed to be Money in the Bank, but it seems like WWE plans on bringing fans back in July, and that's probably where either July or maybe October. Sorry. I've been trying to fight that. But July or October seem like that's going to be when Money in the Bank takes place. I mean, it's obviously going to be a pay-per-view that takes place, but when? So, anyways, moving on, and let's get ready for Raw. Alright, everyone, this is Daniel Crawford here with a snap review of what's going to be 4 events at once. Of course, I fell behind mostly because my DVR did this weird thing where I didn't want to record like the first half hour of Raw this week. So, it put me where I had to watch a number of events over a short period of time after Raw finally got put on Hulu. But we'll get into that here in a second because this is going to be as quick a snap review as I can handle. I've already reviewed Backlash, so let's move on to Raw from the night after, May 17th, 2021. This Raw started out good enough. Of course, I had to watch the first few segments on Hulu, and I later found out when I watched the what my DVR did record of Raw, which started at the, I think it was 32 or 36 minute mark, and it started out halfway through the Alexis Playhouse, which thankfully Hulu put on there so I could see that. But what I see right after the Playhouse segment, Hulu cut out the part with R-Truth and the 24/7 title, which was unfortunate. But getting ahead of myself here, things started off with Lashley MVP coming out, issuing an open challenge. This was immediately answered by Drew McIntyre, who said he wants to accept. MVP said an open challenge to anyone who hasn't already competed against Lashley, which, good stuff. Then we see Riddle and New Day and Orton in the back. Riddle, of course, poking the bear with Orton yet again here, and trying to get the New Day and Orton to see eye to eye, and them, trying to get them to bury the hatchet, if you will. Remember the previous week where Riddle said, how are we ever going to make friends, Randy, if you keep acting like this? Meaning constantly RKOing people. So, anyways, this leads to a Kofi Kingston versus Orton match later on the show, which is itself good, but we'll move on to Alexa's Playhouse with Natty and Tamina. This was a fun segment, I thought. This is the story with Alexa Bliss, is just like with the Fiend story, is something that it kind of divides the wrestling community. Of course, when you look at it, most subjects do divide the wrestling community. The thing that wrestling fans can't agree on is what they like. So, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We can't agree on music. We can't agree on movies. We can't agree on wrestling. So, I thought this was fine. I'm enjoying the Alexa storyline. I want to see Alexa come back to her original self, but I like this new twist on her character. So, I still have my theories about what all this is about with Lily and her, but we'll see where it goes. Either way, Alexa's saying she'll keep her eye on Natty and Tamina, wishing them luck. The thing that was left out, also another thing that was left out from the Hulu version, because Hulu skipped quite a few segments. There was a match with Garza, Angel Garza. I almost keep calling him Hector Garza, but Angel Garza took on Drew Gulak again, humiliated him again. The match was short, but it was okay. But it was left off of the Hulu version. Then we saw the 24/7 segment where Truth loses the 24/7 title to Akira Tozawa. And we see a little vignette for Evolution, followed up by Kofi Kingston versus Orton, which was a really good match, just kind of a show stealer of sorts, followed up by RK Bro and New Day kind of going at it. So that's going to be an interesting feud. I'm looking forward to that. Then we see Naomi and Lana, Mandy and Dana, and then Pierce and Sonya Deville coming up, and of course Charlotte and Rhea come into the picture as well. We're trying to figure out who the next challengers for the women's tag team titles are, but Charlotte's also stepping in because she still believes she's like the center of our attention, which, in all fairness, she's one of the top 3-4 women of the company. So by all means, she deserves the attention. Women's tag team title match was decent. Natty and Tamina defended successfully against Nia and Shayna, which they will have another rematch for reasons I'll get into in a second. Well, in a few, I mean. The match was just short, but I thought it had a decent ending, so that's why I gave it a 9 rating instead of an 8. And I haven't been showing what my ratings have been as of late because I've been trying to keep caught up, and I'll get more into detail about things after the summer because I have a summer vacation thing coming up here soon, next month. So there will be a whole week where I won't do any recordings, but I'll do a whole encompassing review and within the week after I come back from visiting my friends. Anyways, Sheamus has a promo, sort of dogging on Ricochet. Ricochet, of course, shows that he still has Sheamus' stuff. Then Sheamus and Ricochet have a really good match. I'm glad they're showing Ricochet on here. I think his contract may be coming up. But this was it was a good match, and Sheamus won. But Ricochet looked strong, I think, after this match. Then we have post-match comments by Sheamus. He's still, talking about how he's the greatest U.S. champion. And this was an open challenge that was answered that wasn't for the U.S. title. So he's kind of doing what Lashley was doing, but we'll get into that once again here in a second. Mason T-Bar then have a decent promo. Asuka then takes on Charlotte in a really good match. And then after that, we see Morrison having a interview here, and he's more or less suggesting that The Miz may be dead or undead. I don't know, but apparently Miz is injured, so that's what's going on with that. We saw a Lumberjack match, a real Lumberjack match, where Damian Priest defeated John Morrison. I thought this was a good match. It was a lot of fun. Damian Priest then had an interview after the match, and it looks like we may be moving on from Priest with the feud with Morrison and Miz, which is a good thing, and hopefully Morrison can kind of bounce back. He was still great in that match, but he's obviously being used to help groom the new talent. Another Evolution vignette, which was a brand new one. They're obviously building towards her being probably a valet, which is interesting. She's going to be training women of the future, and that's just fine. But I'm curious as to how she's going to fit into the mold of the women's evolution, and revolution for that matter. Shelton Benjamin has an interview. He and Cedric Alexander get into it again, so keeping this feud going, which is okay. We'll see where they can go from here, but hopefully both men are in the Money in the Bank match, or at least fighting in a qualifying match for it, because the torch needs to be passed from Shelton to Cedric, and this is one good way of doing it. MVP and Lashley, of course, come out, reiterate the whole open challenge. The New Day, they accept the open challenge on behalf of Kofi Kingston, who defeated Orton, obviously, earlier in the night. And this leads to a pretty good, really good match between Kofi and Lashley that ends with Kofi defeating the world champion with the help of Drew McIntyre. And now a lot of people are hoping, like, hey, maybe this is a sign Kofi's going to get another shot at the world title. I don't know. Will he become world champion again? I don't think so, at least not yet. But it was a good show. NXT from the next night, May 18th, 2021. The opening segment kind of previewed the night in a comic book style, which was fun. We see Toni Storm take on Zoe Stark in a really good opening bout. Storm wins. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. But she wins, but then her celebration is interrupted by Frankie Monet, formerly known as Taya Valkyrie. So this is good stuff here. The Legado del Fantasma is having an interview. They're interrupted by Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, setting up for a match later on in the night. So we have more stuff with Cameron Grimes. Him and Jake Atlas kind of get into it as Atlas is saying that Ted DiBiase is better, and Grimes wants to take him to task for that. So we see them setting up for a match later on in the night. Indy Hartwell and LeRae are in a spa, and LeRae has Indy Hartwell kind of brainwashed into thinking that Dexter wasn't really interested in her, that he didn't care about her. So Indy Hartwell starts saying some heartbreaking things about Dexter Lumis, and come to find out that Dexter Lumis is one of the people giving a massage to Indy Hartwell, and of course he just stops doing it and then he leaves because he's all depressed and stuff. He never says a word, but this stuff was good. Then we see a Prime Target segment. I love these. Building up next week's main event between Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. Just really good stuff. Excellent segment. I loved it. We then see Cameron Grimes coming out, taunting, the crowd and everything. Jake Atlas and him have a really good match. And then it's interrupted by Ted DiBiase, who provides a distraction. And we see Cameron Grimes yet again. Ted DiBiase! Keep this stuff going, please. Just please. It's good video. It's good television, rather. Bronson Reed has a video about his main event match for the steel cage. Unfortunately, because I was a couple days late on watching NXT, I had the end result of the main event spoiled for me by Facebook, so oh well. Anyways, it was still a good video package. Pete Dunne has an interview. He's looking for a singles career here, to continue it and build upon it. I like Pete Dunne, so hopefully they do something really great with him. Alexander Wolf, in his very last match in WWE, because he was released the next day, sadly, he loses to Killian Dane. And then after they had this short match, which was okay, it had a decent ending, but it was too short, I think, for Wolf's last match. He gets beat up by Imperium afterwards for failing, and which was a good send-off. Either way, I'm just sad to see Wolf leaving. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai have an interview. They're interrupted by Everrise, who are trying to promote their little show that they have. And Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez just are annoyed, and they kind of almost beat up Everrise, which was funny. I like Everrise. They're a source of entertainment. They're kind of annoying and trying to get attention. And I just see them as I don't know. They kind of remind me of the Quebecers and the Hart Foundation. But at the same time, they also remind me of even more annoying versions of the Rockers and the Young Bucks at the same time. It's really weird, but I like them. Legado del Fantasma defeat Timothy Thatcher and Ciampa with the help of grizzled young veterans, which was a good segment here. So really good matches, solid matches throughout the night. Bobby Fish has an interview noting that he is no longer a singles superstar, going to be moving on his own. Good stuff there, saying that he will cross paths with his former tag team partner in the near future, Kyle O'Reilly. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell have continued their spa. Indy Hartwell realizes that the flowers, when she hears about a credit card purchase that was bounced from Candice LeRae, that there were apparently flowers purchased, and she connects it up oh wait, those flowers weren't from Dexter. Maybe Dexter still loves me, and then she is back on being obsessed with Dexter Lumis. So LeRae is left being heartbroken that this has happened, and then we move on to John Gargano and Austin Theory having a promo. Good stuff here. And then Sarai defeats Aaliyah in a match that was just too short. Good stuff. I like both of them, but this match, it didn't really leave you a lot to be interested in. And unfortunately, Saray is getting a push, but she doesn't seem to be captivating people. And I feel bad for her, but it seems like she's kind of stagnating there. Anyways, I'm sure we'll see a lot better things. Maybe her theme music. I can't stand her theme music. Anyways, moving on. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon have a good promo video here. And then we move on to Adonis and Nice versus Hit Row. And this leads to a post-promo. It's like Hit Row wins, a match that was also too short. Post-match promo, which was okay. And then we see Regal having an announcement about the things to come next week. And Frankie Monet has a vignette, which is getting you pumped up because she debuts next week. And now the North American Championship match. Bronson Reed wins in the cage match against Johnny Gargano, becoming the North American Champion. Ending the night on a good note. Just really good stuff. Solid show. NXT delivering as always. Moving on. AEW. Probably one of the strongest episodes I've seen in a while. This was pretty fun. Christian Cage defeated Matt Sydal in the opening bout. A good match here. Starks and Team Taz came out. Then Adam Page came out. Kind of like a little bit of chaos here. So Team Taz still harassing Christian Cage. But leading to that, the Casino Battle Royale, which is a match that Christian Cage is in. And so are a lot of these other participants. But still, this was good. Looking forward to that. If Christian Cage wins, though, which I kind of suspect he will, I don't think he'll become world champion. And I think, in a way, it'll be kind of a waste. I hate the thing that AEW does, where they'll do like a big match to determine a number one contender. They'll do that at the pay-per-view, and then they'll have that match on Dynamite. It's like, why not do something like the Royal Rumble? You have someone qualify, become the number one contender, and they'll go on to the next pay-per-view to fight like they did with the first Double or Nothing and All Out. Like Adam Page and Chris Jericho qualified for that world title match by winning their respective matches at Double or Nothing, and they had to wait a few months. And that was... Why don't they keep doing that? It drives me nuts. Anyways, moving on. That was just a minor, complaint there, a rant. Varsity Blondes have a decent promo here. I like Brian Pillman Jr. He's a really good talent, and I hope that he has a really bright future ahead of him. I think he does. Excuse me. John Moxley and Eddie Kingston have a promo, followed by a decent Acclaim promo as well. I enjoyed it. Acclaim then has a rap, which someone said on Twitter that we didn't really need the rap and the promo from Acclaim back to back like that. But either way, it was okay. Acclaimed, of course, during that promo though, I can't remember which member of the Acclaim, they made a comment about Moxley being the lunatic cringe instead of lunatic fringe, obviously a reference to his days in WWE. AEW does a lot of these things. This is something that Impact did as well. And I think even WCW, if I remember correctly, they make references to the other company. But WWE also would do it from time to time, but they don't really do it as much anymore. Matter of fact, they haven't even really mentioned AEW since Sami Zayn's segment on Raw, right after Double or Nothing. So moving on, we see Moxley and Eddie win over the Acclaimed. I still cannot stand their music. I like the song Wild Thing. It just doesn't fit Moxley's character, I don't think. I hate it. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. Jericho has an interview. Good stuff. The guy's just great on the mic, as he always has been for decades. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And then, of course, they have a little bit of a promo segment here. Darby, well, actually, not promo. They were in the ring, confronted by Darby and Sting. Good stuff here. We find out that there's going to be a tag team match with Darby and Sting versus Page and Sky at Double or Nothing. I still think it's a mistake that Sky and Page were not challenging for the TNT title. Whatever. Pinnacle, they then Dine have a really good segment here where they're talking about this Stadium Stampede match coming up. And I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the few reasons why I'm going to order Double or Nothing. I already made my decision, which is a good change of pace here because recent pay-per-views since All Out, I have been kind of sluggish to make the decision, and this one finally sold me pretty early. So, moving on, we see Shida against Rebel, a match that was just too short, but had a decent ending, so kind of saved the rating that it got for me. Post-match segment was pretty good. Gave the segment overall a 9. All these other segments were a 10 up to this point. Cassidy with Orange Cassidy is confronted by Don Callis and Kenny Omega. They're trying to coerce him to give up his title shot at Double or Nothing, which I want to reiterate, I think it would be a mistake to give the world title to Cassidy. It would just be a bad decision because he really is not being booked in a way that makes sense for him to become world champion. He is purely being booked as a comedy act, and anyone who doesn't see that doesn't understand how the industry works. I'm sorry. You don't book a comedy act to become your world champion. You don't. Unless it's going to be like a short-term transitional thing. But it doesn't make sense to take the title off of Omega to put it on Cassidy. It just doesn't. So, Omega's winning this regardless. He just is. Anyways, Inner Circle has a decent promo again. I still think that Sammy Guevara is going to betray the Inner Circle, but we'll see. They could twist this on us. We then see Jade Cargill having an interview here as this guy who keeps trying to pitch himself to her. I think his name is Mark. Keeps trying to pitch himself to her as her manager or whatever, because she's the hottest free agent in AEW. And this was just okay stuff here. Nothing that would kill the segment for me. Just, I don't know. I'm gradually getting bored of Jade Cargill. I know a lot of people are like, oh, she's such a great talent. I'm getting bored of this. We barely see her in the ring. Just a lot of talking, and that's all it is. NWA Women's Championship match. Yet again, for the billionth time, I am not interested in watching another promotion's championships being defended. Having said that, though, this was still a great match. Serena Deeb successfully defended, as you would easily predict, against Red Velvet. Just a great match. Pac having a promo about the world title, noting that everyone's overlooking him, as they shouldn't be, but he's also not being booked to become world champion, so he's not going to win. Guaranteed. Austin Gunn takes on Anthony Ogogo. I am not into Ogogo. I'm sorry. I'm not into this whole patriotic feud. It just doesn't matter to me. Ogogo wins. Easy peasy. A squash match, rather. I just don't care. SCU has an interview. Frankie Kazarian hinting that he has a lot of respect for Christopher Daniels, that he owes his whole career to Mr. Daniels, and that, this was just a good way to send off Christopher Daniels, and he says, Daniels will go on to his own career path according to his own choice, and we'll see where they go from there. But I don't know. I don't see where Christopher Daniels goes from here. He's not going to become world champion. He's very unlikely to ever become TNT champion. He's just going to be used to push other guys. And the same thing will happen to Frankie Kazarian, because I cannot see Kazarian becoming world champion either. Miro has a promo. Archer then has a promo. So Lance Archer and Miro are going to have a TNT title match at Double or Nothing. So good stuff there. Doesn't matter what other matches Miro has. He's not losing the title until Double or Nothing. Tag team title match. The Young Bucks defend successfully against the Varsity Blondes. Really good match. Predictable who was going to win. I never had a doubt. Mox. That's one of the unfortunate things about having so many title matches on weekly events, is that you know who's going to win. I mean, and that's one of the things that kind of kills it for me. Unless, of course, you pull like an out of nowhere decision, and that happens from time to time, like Miro last week, but still, not enough, I don't think. Moxley and Eddie then come down, steal the shoes of the Young Bucks, kind of rain on their parade. Young Bucks will defend against the Moxley and Eddie Kingston at Double or Nothing. Going to be a great show. So moving on here, Smackdown from 2 nights later, May 21st, 2021. Really good show. Smackdown's just on fire. It just is. Only one segment fell short of a 10 rating for me, and that was a 9.5, but I'm going to get into it. And it kicked off with Sonya Deville coming out, introducing the champions, with everyone except Roman Reigns, which we'll get into that in a second, but he had a funny little thing with Apollo Crews saying that he is the Intercontinental Champion, and he he's more or less saying that he doesn't respect anyone in management, that he's the leader of the company, or leader of the brand, this and that. And then we have an announcement about, later on in the night regarding the Intercontinental Championship, and Paul Heyman comes out and says that all these people who are on the stage, they're all title holders, and that Roman Reigns is a champion. He is the champion, and I could not agree more. Out verbally abusing Bianca Belair, and she is, we see she also attacks the women's tag team champions as well verbally. So we see Natty, Tamina, and Bianca come down, and they are met with by Bayley. Excuse me. Sorry, Bayley, Nia, and Shayna. And a little bit of a showdown. This leads to a 6-woman tag, which is actually won, surprisingly, by Bayley, Nia, and Shayna when Shayna makes Natty tap out. So that's pretty awesome stuff. Which obviously earns a rematch for the women's tag team titles on Raw this coming up week. Big E then has an interview. This guy is just great on the mic. Shows that he's going to prove to us all why he is meant for this spot. Aleister Black has an amazing vignette. These have been just awesome. This repackaging of Aleister Black, I just love it. So definitely got the highest rating from me of the entire night. But then, of course, that was duplicated by the segment at the end of the show, which I'll get into here in a second. Baron Corbin has a promo about his stolen crown. And then we see a guy named Boogs, who used to be in NXT apparently. This is when I wasn't watching wrestling. But he introduces Shinsuke Nakamura to a redone version of Nakamura's entrance music. And it's just awesome. It's just, yeah. I mean, this whole thing, you're seeing Pat McAfee, doing an air guitar, shredding it, like hitting Michael Cole each time. It was just good stuff here. So Boogs definitely added to this excitement for Shinsuke Nakamura. Created like a variation of his song, which was just great. And I just love Shinsuke Nakamura. He's just great. He's just good. This was also a great match between Nakamura and Corbin, which Nakamura won. Ran away yet again with the crown. Great stuff. We see Sonya and Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso saying he wants to take on the Street Profits alongside his brother next week on SmackDown. Sonya Deville agrees and makes the match. Oh, man, this just adds a lot of drama to this whole Bloodline storyline and whether or not Jimmy Uso is going to join or if Jey Uso is going to leave. So, a lot of drama. I love it. Kevin Owens then has a great promo leading up to the main event. Bloodline, we see Cesaro and Seth interrupt Roman Reigns. And, of course, Cesaro comes out saying he doesn't have time for this, but then Seth Rollins attacks him, obliterates him, and sends him home on a stretcher. We then see Seth Rollins having an interview. Following the segment, he then goes after Cesaro yet again. But Seth Rollins is like all wide-eyed, and he's like, "Why do you keep making me do this? What can make you understand?" Like I don't know, I love Seth Rollins' crazy character here. The Dirty Dogs have a promo. Mostly Bobby Roode saying that that Dominic is basically riding on his father's coattails, that he gets everything from his father as he has since birth, basically, as he puts it. Dominic then defeats Robert Roode in a match that was too short, but the segment overall gets a 9.5, I thought. The Usos then discuss this whole thing because Jimmy Uso approaches Jay about this match. Jay's kind of angry that this match was made without his consent, and he says he has to go talk to Roman Reigns about it. We then see, after the commercial break, Jey Uso talked to Roman Reigns. Roman is not impressed. He basically wants this dealt with. Jey Uso assures him that he will deal with it. For this, we see the Street Profits have a promo talking about how excited they are to actually have this match coming up. So the match is going to happen, just whether or not Jey Uso will be a part of it. And once again, that drama, gotta love it. Sami Zayn has an interview. I just love his whole conspiracy theory thinking. As we go into the Intercontinental title match, an excellent fatal 4-way match. Just really good stuff. As Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Big E challenge for Apollo Crews' Intercontinental title. This just kind of goes all over the place. There's a lot of chaos. Lasts about 20-25 minutes. And Aleister Black interferes at the end of it, costing Big E, hitting him with a black mass, and leading to Apollo getting the pin, retaining, and Aleister just with one glass eye continuity from last summer's poking of the eye up against the steps. I love the continuity there, so good job for WWE creative team there. But Apollo standing tall with Aleister Black returning, targeting Big E. Just a great episode of SmackDown, topping off a really good week of wrestling. Looking forward to the next one as we enter into the last week before Double or Nothing. Alright, so this is another series of snap reviews here for the week that has just passed. A lot of stuff's been going on, which has kept me from being able to do this daily. And I don't know if I'll ever maintain that pattern that I wanted to have. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off with this week's first show. Raw from May 24th, 2021. I didn't have to watch any of this on Hulu, finally, thankfully. And I thought, from this whole show, honestly, that this was a solid show. I thought that, if anything, arguably, let me look at what I gave NXT here. I think it actually beat out NXT, SmackDown, and AEW for the best show of the week. Raw this week was just, I thought, great. Everything about the show, for me, obviously this is all subjective, I thought it was great. You had MVP coming out there with Lashley again. Drew McIntyre tried to come out and say, hey, don't overlook me. I'm the former champion. I want my title back. And then Kofi Kingston comes out and says, hey, I pinned the world champion last week. And, of course, he's right. This leads to Adam Pearce saying that Drew and Kofi should face off and then to determine the number one contender for the world title. So that, of course, kicks off next. This, of course, ends in a double DQ when the Hurt Business attacks And of course, we have some shenanigans afterward. But anyway, it was a great match between Drew and Kofi. It just had to end in the double DQ because they want to do this as the main event for this coming up Raw. Anyways, Rhea and Charlotte and Nikki had this thing in the back because Nikki's going to try and prove herself. Charlotte, of course, saying that you're better than Rhea. Rhea saying she can prove that she's better than Charlotte. And of course, the challenge became to see who could beat Nikki within, like, I think it was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe if I remember it was 3 minutes. This is why I should do this recording right after the show when I watch it. Anyways, of course, later on, Cross beat out the clock because she survived the 3 minutes or whatever, as Rhea was just too invested and just lost track of time. So Nikki Cross effectively beat the women's champion. Evolution, it was a repeat vignette of her. Of course, later on in the show, they had a new vignette for her, which was cool. Damian Priest, Mandy and Dana, John Morrison, let me see here, Jeff Hardy, and oh my god, there was one other person. I think it was Baron Corbin. They had a series of vignettes for the not vignettes, excuse me, promos rather, for the tour that's coming up. Saying like, we're going to welcome you back. We're looking forward to it. You're going to be lucky to see us all in person. And it's just, I don't know, it was fun, kind of getting me hyped for it, although I'm not going to be able to go to any of these shows. So, anyways. Kofi talked with Drew about having a rematch here. That will Kofi and Drew, talked with Pierce about it, rather. And a rematch has been set for next week, like I said earlier. Charlotte then defeated Asuka in a really good match. People were complaining about the match lengths here and there, but this is what people want. You want like excellent matches. This is what you're getting. Raw's trying to give you a really good show here, and sometimes they just can't win for losing. So I don't blame Vince for ignoring us over half of the time. Saw a lot of stuff with the Hurt Business, throughout this show. Cedric Alexander had a pretty good promo right before his matchup against Shelton Benjamin, wherein he beat Shelton Benjamin in a really good match. Just fantastic stuff. RK Bro had a little bit of a recap here before Riddle defeated Xavier Woods in another really good lengthy match. Just like I said, just a lot of delivery here with this episode of Raw. Riker and Styles, they had a short match, but it was still good. Didn't really get a 10 for me, but I got a 9. And then, of course, the post-match stuff with Omos, Elias, and then Riker and Styles. The whole stuff going on out of the ring. That got a 10, and then, of course, the average for this segment got a 9.5 from me. This is a ranking from 1 to 10, remember that. So, and then we saw Sheamus take on Carrillo. This match did not end prematurely because of any injury. Sheamus defeated Carrillo. But then, of course, this was followed by Carrillo and Ricochet tearing Sheamus apart. So, just love how they're using Ricochet right now. Like, I hope Ricochet resigns. I know he's probably not going to, but I hope he resigns because I'd like to see what he would do if given a second wind. I don't blame him for not resigning because, he has been kind of like dormant for about almost a year. So, I understand. Actually, it's probably been over a year. But anyways, with the exception with Retribution, Ricochet's been largely on the sidelines. But I'm glad to see him doing something right now. Nia and Shayna in the back. Reggie told to stay away because Shayna doesn't want him to become a distraction. We see in that women's tag team title match, Natty and Tamina retain because of some distractions as Reggie got in the way. Shayna's chasing after him, and you see like an explosion on the entrance ramp. And this is obviously all coming from Alexa, the Twisted Alexa. But of course, sadly, Alexa was not at this show, and I was wondering why. But then I realized her Larry Steve, her pet pig, passed away this week, which was pretty sad. So I guess I think that's the reason why she wasn't there. Anyways, after this, Shayna threatened Reginald, said she wants to kick the crap out of him next week on Raw. And so we're going to actually see Shayna versus Reggie, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. But then we move on to the next show, which was NXT, and an excellent episode of NXT it was. We see a great opening thing here, opening video package, as always, from NXT, because they're just really good at it. Shotzi and Ember defeated Raquel and Dakota Kai, and this was the right move, I thought. But Raquel kind of just showing her brutality after this, as well she should. Then we see Thatcher and Ciampa having a little bit of a promo. Sorry, I'm just reading off my notes here. Pete Dunn with Bobby Fish. There was like a video package for them, which kind of like documents the history for their feuds. And then, of course, Pete Dunn in a really good match. Just a series of great matches in WWE this week. Pete Dunn defeats Bobby Fish. And, of course, this is followed by Lorcan and Dunn attacking Fish. And it's just, good stuff. I keep saying that, but, it keeps the stories going. That's the reason why I keep saying that. Mercedes Martinez is seen walking, but then Boa is like appearing out of the background. What's he going to be doing here? Of course, we find out. We'll find out later. In the Mercedes match against Zadir, I can't remember what her first name is, but either ways, Zadir loses to Mercedes Martinez. But after the match, there's a sign that Xia Li is watching, and that this little stable of Xia Li, Boa, and I can't remember their leader's name, but that they're going to target Mercedes next. Sorry. Hit Row having a little bit of a promo segment here, and I'm a big fan of Hit Row. I think I like Isaiah Swerve Scott, and I like that he has a stable of his own, and it's it's growing on me more and more every week. But $1 Million Face-Off. So this was funny. This was good. It was a little bit underwhelming because I'm not sure what I was expecting with this segment. I just knew it was going to be good. And it got a 10 still, but I've been giving the $1 Million Man segments with Cameron Grimes, I've been giving them 15s as opposed to 10s for a while because it's just been excellent. This was just a standard segment that allowed Ted DiBiase to sort of like pass the torch to someone. And it wasn't Cameron Grimes, it was LA Knight. And LA Knight beat the crap out of Cameron Grimes. He got the blessings from Ted DiBiase. And there's a lot of rumors going around that the $1 Million Championship is going to return, and I hope it does because it would look excellent around the waist of LA Knight. It just will. Be a really good boost for him too. But we move from this to Indy Hartwell. She's having, she's having a interview. She does this search around, and then of course, as she's looking around for the love of her life, if you will, Dexter, Everrise, she interrupts them recording one of their shows. They and Drake Maverick, they point out that they last saw Dexter going into this closet where all these drawings are all like depicting like his love for Indy and how he has a broken heart because he overheard her saying that he was a loser, and she's like, no, and she like leaves, and yeah, I don't know, I can't wait to see where this is going. Frankie Monet has an okay debut, a squash match. So I've mentioned before, I don't really like squash matches. If it makes sense, I'll give them a decent rating, but because it's a squash match, because it's just the length is just not right. Unless you're going to be like super beastly, unless you're like an undeniable beast, like a Brock Lesnar type, I can't really endorse with a great rating a squash match. But anyways, Frankie Monet, formerly known as Taya Valkyrie, the wife of John Morrison, she's much more than that. She won, and I see great things in her future. So, and Grizzled Young Veterans had a promo. This was fun. Imperium had a promo. Walter is, of course, stuck over in Europe. And sadly, they got rid of Alexander Wolf. I hate that he got fired. So now Imperium is one member shorter. But it's just, he was a great wrestler. And I really hope that this doesn't lead to like a disintegration of Imperium because I really enjoy this stable. Bronson Reed with Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. This is all going on in the ring. Obviously, Santos Escobar is going to be targeting the North American Championship. So we'll see where this goes. But I think this is going to be a tag with Reed and MSK taking on Escobar and the rest of Legado del Fantasma. Regal makes an announcement. And it's about, I believe, oh my God, I'm sorry. I've write a note down about what the announcement was. But he does make an announcement, and apparently I liked it. I think it pertained to the next episode of NXT, perhaps, or the pay-per-view. Sorry. Anyways, NXT Championship match, a great matchup here. Oh, I remember now. He decided we were going to find out the next opponent for the NXT Championship. That's what it was. He discerned that was going to be I can't remember. I think it was like either a triple threat or a four-way man match. Anyways, it was involving a number of high-ranking superstars in NXT to determine the next number one contender for the NXT title. That's what it was. Anyways, NXT Championship match, Karrion Kross defeated Finn Balor after another spectacular match, ending the show on a great note. with Cross obviously retaining, and then we move on to SmackDown. SmackDown here was a great show. It was a great show. And I forgot to write a note down here. I'll just deal with that later. So what didn't top Raw or NXT. Raw was the best show, followed by NXT, followed by SmackDown, then followed by AEW. We'll get into AEW here shortly. But this show started off great, as it has always been, with the Bloodline storyline going on with the Usos and Roman Reigns. Usos were all getting hyped up because they're about to take on the Street Profits in this history-making match. And Roman's like, yeah, you got this all figured out. I mean, come on. You're going to be ready for this. And Jimmy Uso, he's confident that he's got the team back together. And Jey Uso, he's torn within himself because he wants to continue to follow the lead of Reigns, but he also wants to please his brother and rejoin the Usos. So you don't know where this is going to go. I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to probably to one of two routes. Either Jey Uso is going to turn on Jimmy and stick with the Bloodline, leading to a Hell in a Cell match between Jimmy Uso and Roman, or between Jimmy and Jey in the Hell in a Cell, which would be interesting. Or you're going to see a situation where Jey Uso tries to escape the clutches of Roman, and then Roman beats the crap out of him and Jimmy. So either one of those would work, I think, for the storyline. Profits then, of course, have their own promo, followed by the Usos saying, hey, look, you think this is your yard? This is still our place. We still have this territory. So a little bit of a back and forth, leading to a great match between the Usos and the Street Profits. The Usos win. But like I said, great match either way. The Dirty Dogs have an interview, and I just love the Dirty Dogs, Ziggler and Rude. They're just a really good team, and I love their promo skills. But the drama between the Usos and between the Usos and the Profits, but the Usos and Roman, this drama plays out throughout the night, because after they win, you see Jimmy Uso indicating that he wants to go after the World Tag Title. So he asks Adam Pearce's blessing for a tag title opportunity. Pierce goes, okay, go ahead. And Roman is like, you tell me, Jey, that you were with me, your brother, and you got to make up your mind. Roman's pretty annoyed here. Jey is Roman gives him a little bit of a pep talk, saying, do you want to get back in a position? People are asking you, or do you want to continue on the Uso that you are now?